Evening and welcome. Our first piece for tonight is Citadel Overture by David Bennett, born in 1892 and passed in 1990. Was an American composer, arranger, pianist, and clarinetist. He studied harmony, theory, counterpoint, and arranging at the Chicago College of Music. The piece you will hear tonight is the Citadel Overture, composed in 1950. And also, I guess you can see we have a guest conductor tonight, Mr. Nick Webb. Thank him very much for tuning in. Yes. Written by Canadian singer-songwriter Leonard Cohen back in the 80s, Hallelujah is a powerful song that has reached almost legendary status with its frequent usage in TV and movies. Recorded by such diverse artists as Bob Dylan, Bon Jovi, and Justin Timberlake. It was also used in the first Shrek movie and most recently during the 2010 Winter Olympics opening ceremony in Vancouver. More than 100 versions of this song have been recorded. Cohen has said the song's meaning. It explains that many kinds of hallelujahs do exist, and all the perfect and broken hallelujahs have equal value. The full version of the song has 15 verses. Cohen, a notorious perfectionist, is said to have originally written 80 verses. Tonight you will hear a terrific setting arranged for band by Michael Brown. Hallelujah. The Fairest of the Fair was written by John Philip Sousa for the Boston Food Fair of 1908. Mr. Sousa and his band had great drawing power at fairs and expositions and was much sought after. Atlanta newspaper carried rave reviews of the band's performance for the Cotton States and International Conventions of 1895, saying, "The band is a mascot. It has pulled many expositions out of the financial ruts. It actually saved the Midwinter Fair in San Francisco." And at the St. Louis and Dallas expositions, Sousa's band provided extraordinary musical attention and played before enormous audiences. During his 40 years as bandmaster, Sousa lifted the concert band to popular heights, which grossed an estimated $40 million. Jog your memory back to your childhood days at the fair while performing this piece, The Fairest of the Fair. Dropkick Murphys. The band first started playing in the basement of a friend's barbershop and soon found that people loved their music, and as a result began to tour and record. They received their first big break when the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones selected them as the opening act for their 1997 tour in support of the Let's Face It. I'm Shipping Up to Boston appeared on their 2005 album, The Warrior's Code. The song's simple lyrics describes a sailor who has lost a leg climbing the topsail and who is shipping up to Boston to find my wooden leg. The song then has sold over 1 million copies, digital copies, without even charting on the Hot 100. We hope you enjoy this Irish-American fusion sound of I'm Shipping Up to Boston. Now we'll hear Clarinet Candy, a piece with some fast fingering featuring, you guessed it, the clarinets. This piece was composed by Leroy Anderson in 1962. The clarinet is a musical instrument of woodwind type. The name derives from adding the suffix "et," meaning little, to the Italian word clarineto, meaning a type of trumpet, as the first clarinets had a forceful tone similar to that of a trumpet. In jazz contests, it has sometimes been informally referred to as the licorice stick, which is fitting, I think, considering the reference to candy in the title of this piece. I hope you enjoy this special treat of music, Clarinet Candy, and clarinets, are we ready? Yeah. break after that. Up next, we have Jersey Boys. It is a 2014 American musical drama film directed and produced by Clint Eastwood, based on the 2004 Tony Award-winning jukebox musical of the same name. The film tells of the story of the musical group, the Four Tops, or the Four Seasons. Jersey Boys was released in the United States on June 20th of 2014. It received mixed reviews from critics who praised the musical numbers but criticized narrative and the runtime, and the grossed $67 million worldwide dollars. We hope you enjoy Jersey Boys. At this point in the concert, we would like to thank Channel 990, 991, and stgenTV.com for filming our performances each week. Let's give them a big hand. Thank you. Also, I need to tell you that our sign down at the Valley Desert, it is broken. So if you didn't see it, and if it's raining or really hot, we will be here. So it's in repair right now. Also, it's been brought to my attention that Nan, our flute player, she's having a 75th birthday, and I think she has family in the audience. Let's all wish her a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Nan. And up next, we have the Maple Leaf Rag. It is an early ragtime musical composition for piano by Scott Joplin. It was one of Joplin's early works and is one of the most famous of all of his ragtime pieces. It became the model for ragtime compositions by subsequent composers. As a result, Joplin was called the King of Ragtime. The piece gave Joplin a steady, if unspectacular, incoming for the rest of his life. Despite ragtime's decline after Joplin's death in 1917, the Maple Leaf Rag continued to be recorded by many well-known artists. The ragtime revival of the 1970s brought it back to mainstream public notice once again. Prior to its publication, Joplin anticipated that this piece would be a success. He told Arthur Marshall that Maple Leaf will make me the king of ragtime composers. Please enjoy this familiar favorite, Maple Leaf Rag. From the motion pictures The Avengers, first released in 2012, about American superheroes based on the Marvel Comics superhero team. Since then, there have been 3 more phases released in 2015, 2018, 2019, and hopefully more to come. Starting in July, there should be more, is what is said. I looked it up on Google. Please enjoy this arrangement of Alan Silverstein's The Avengers. Up next, we have Moonlight Serenade. It is a popular American song with original music by Glenn Miller and subsequent lyrics by Mitchell Parrish. The song was a top 10 hit on the US pop chart in 1939, reaching number 3 on the Billboard charts, where it stayed for 15 weeks. It was the number 5 top pop hit of 1939 in the Billboard year-end tally. In 1991, the recording of Moonlight Serenade by Glenn Miller and his orchestra was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. The most striking part of the piece was its use of clarinet-led saxophone sections, which widely considered the classic Glenn Miller style. The song is a prime example of the American big band sound from the mid-20th century. Please enjoy Miller's signature theme, Moonlight Serenade. 76 Trombones is the signature song for the musical play, The Music Man, which was written by Meredith Willson. The arrangement we'll hear tonight was composed by Leroy Anderson. In the musical, Professor Harold Hill uses the song 76 Trombones to help the townspeople of the fictional town of River City, Iowa, visualize their children playing in a marching band by hearkening back to a time when he saw several famous band leaders' bands in a combined performance. Whereas, as average-sized high school marching bands might have about 10 musicians playing trombones, and a large colleague of villagers of marching, including 70, I missed a line here. And a large colleague marching band seldom has more than 30 trombones. The band that Harold described in Euphorium, and 50 mounted cannons, which were popular in the band of the time. We don't have quite that arrangement here, but we hope you enjoy this piece, 76 Trombones. piece this evening is a day in Disneyland. What could be more fun than a trip to Disneyland? Experience all the sounds of the world's most famous theme parks in this jam-packed medley, arranged by Michael Story, featuring Mickey Mouse March, The Great Outdoors, It's a Small World, You Can Fly, The Best Time of Your Life, and Yo-Ho, A Captain's Life for Me. Sing along, because I know you probably know the words, to A Day at Disneyland.